Hello everyone. Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. This quote by Robert Frost captures the essence of life's challenges, moments where we must stand at a crossroads, weighing our options. What Frost doesn't mention though is how daunting it can feel to take the step onto that less traveled road. Today, I want to share 3 life lessons with you that have transformed my life. Lesson number 1, quitting what that doesn't suit you. Lesson number 2, embracing the unknown without fear. And lesson number 3, choosing compassion as a constant companion in your life. We'll start with lesson number 1. Society often views quitting as failure, doesn't it? We glorify persistence to the point where even taking a step back away from a goal feels like failure. But here's the truth. Quitting something that doesn't fit you isn't failure. It's freedom. It's the wisdom to say, this is not me anymore. Imagine being stuck in a job or a relationship or even working on a project that continuously sucks the life out of you. Quitting doesn't mean that you're given up, or quitting doesn't mean that you're failed. Quitting actually means that you've made space for something new. My journey started pretty much like this. I spent 10 years of my life as an assistant professor in an engineering institute. I loved teaching, but over time, the spark dimmed. I realized I was holding on to a title that no longer defined me, and to a role that was clearly struggling to meet my evolving aspirations. So, I quit. When I quit my teaching career, a lot of people started asking questions. Some people said, "What are you doing? You're throwing away 10 years of experience. Your career is going to get spoiled." But here's what I learned. When you quit something, your experience doesn't go away. Your experience becomes the foundation for the next big thing that you're going to do. For me, it was pursuing an MBA at XLRI, a path that was as unfamiliar as it was exciting. Society also often attaches a stigma to the word quitting. We have been taught this in our entire life right from our childhood. We have been told continuously never to quit. We have been told continuously to always be the first in class. And we have been told that winners never quit and quitters never win. But what if we flip this question? What if we start asking, what if quitting is the best thing that you can do in your life? What if quitting isn't failure? What if quitting can be a very brave thing to do? So I quit. I quit my teaching career and I came to Excel. Think about the countless number of lives whose lives can be transformed when they quit. People who hate their jobs, people who stay in relationships that don't nurture them, or people who work in projects that don't ignite their passion. All these lives can be transformed if they quit. But they don't quit because of one reason, because they fear the unknown. I've been there. I've stayed in places too long, always wondering if what will happen if I quit? What will happen to my life and my career? But then I learned about a fascinating experiment conducted by University of Chicago economist Stephen Levitt. Levitt created a website for people grappling with tough life decisions. The experiment was very straightforward and simple. You toss a coin, you get a heads, you change your decision. If you get a tail, you continue with the status quo. I know what you're thinking. tossing a coin for taking life decisions. It sounds very stupid, right? But here's what Levitt found. When he followed up with more than 20,000 respondents who took part in that study, after 6 months after they took part in the experiment, he found out that people who changed their decisions, people who changed their jobs, people who quit their relationships, people who started working on new projects, they were on average much more happier than those people who are continuing with the status quo. Why, you may ask? The answer is something related to called as a status quo bias. It means people want to stick with what they are doing even if they don't want, if it's not suiting them. What it actually means is that if you're near indifferent between two choices, you're not actually indifferent between them. You're actually biased towards the status quo. So when you're unsure about something, change. So what I learned from this is that when you are unsure about something, make the change and start with the new. This insight was very liberating for me, and this made me quit my job and apply for an MBA program. Which brings me on to the next lesson, starting over. Starting over was extremely terrifying for me. Once I applied for Excel and I got an admit for Excel, I was very scared because I'll be joining in an institute where I'll be studying with students who are probably going to be a decade younger than me. And all these students are going to come from Tier 1 institutes who have studied in the undergrad and who would be much more intellectually capable than me. So this was the fear that I had. But I overcame that fear and I came inside Excel. Once I got into Excel, I got into amazing opportunities. Opportunities that I could have never even thought that existed started opening up for me. One such opportunity was leading a team of 20 people for conducting the first ever offline placement process, and I was able to successfully run that. And starting over is insanely terrifying, right? There is this constant nagging voice that is present in your head that is continuously questioning your decisions. Questions like, what are you doing? What if this is a stupid decision to take? What if you fail? What will society think about you? And how will you be judged by society? All these questions instill the fear in you, which prevents you from taking that other path. But what I'm saying here is that I'm not asking you to ignore the fear. Rather, I'm asking you to embrace the fear. I'm asking you to take the decision despite the fear. Being fearless means that accepting that failures can be a part and parcel of life. And there is a life beyond failure, and failures can lead to success. Once you get that mindset, it becomes much more easier for you to take that next opportunity. And another thing that I've learned is that every time you get into a new opportunity, you always get opportunities to grow. And every time I've stepped into the unknown, I've constantly grown. So dare to step into the unknown. The third lesson that I want to share with you is about kindness. And before being kind to others, I want you to tell that learn to try to being kind to yourselves too. In a hustle-driven world, we continuously look for constant ambition and we continuously look for achievements, glorified achievements. But it's never possible to continuously achieve everything in life. And there is always going to be a person who's better than you. So just think about it, do what you can do best, and be kind to yourself. Sometimes it's okay to fail. And we also think that success is the only metric that we should look for in life, and it's not okay to fail. But every once in a while, what happens is that life throws a curveball at you, which can derail all your plans. Some of the plans might be like building a new home, having a wonderful wife and kids, and going on vacation to exotic places. But all these plans can be derailed if life throws a curveball at you. So be ready and be acceptful of change, and be acceptful of all the uncertainties that life may throw at you. Once you have this mindset of accepting failure and accepting uncertainties in life, then what will happen is that you'll start behaving much more compassionate to yourself. And once you lay the foundation for being compassionate to yourself, this compassion can be extended to others too. And science backs this up too. So Harvard conducted a large longitudinal study across 80 years where they studied the the factors that affects life satisfaction. And here's what they found. They didn't find that money or power or whatever that you have achieved in life affects your life satisfaction. Rather, what they found was that the quality of relationships that you have is the number one determinant of your life satisfaction. So focus time on relationships and build time on relationships. And relationships always starts with kindness. I've seen this in my own life. My dad was diagnosed with terminal cancer and he was given barely 6 months to live. Once this news was given to us, we were pretty devastated. A lot of questions started flooding our minds. Questions like, what are we going to do now? Why is this happening to us? What did we do wrong? What will be our future look like? But at that point of time, it was the kindness that was given to us by strangers and family members and friends that was what continuously kept us going. It served as a constant reminder that even if things go wrong, there are people around you who can help you and who can help you look into this future. And luckily, my dad had a rare form of cancer which responds extremely well to both radiation and chemotherapy. And so he survived. And here is one tip that I would like to give to you. If you find it difficult to act kind to yourself, start looking at yourself from the third person's point of view. Once you start looking at yourself from the third person point of view, it becomes much more easier to treat yourself with kindness. You will start treating yourself as if you're treating your friend. So treat yourself with kindness, and this will lay the foundation for you to exhibit kindness to other people also. And the final thing that I want to say is that also when you're changing a particular decision, always try to break that decision into smaller parts, because once you break it into smaller parts, then it will become much more easier for you to exit. So, as I said, life is a journey, and once you start with the journey, there are two roads present. So, dare to take the road that is always challenging for you, and take the leap on the challenging road, and that will make a huge difference for you. Thank you.